Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, December 23rd. At my house, we call this Christmas Eve. Some people call it Tipsy Christmas, and some people call it all sorts of other things. But in traditions, I found out, doing a little research on it, in some northern Norwegian countries and up in the north in Europe, this is the night where they have friends and other folks over before the holidays start. A lot of folks in there, they start decorating on Christmas Eve, and they don't bring the tree out till Christmas Eve and all that kind of stuff. So it's like the last night before the big preparation for the 12 days of Christmas and the holidays. So thought that was kind of interesting. But at my house, we just always call it Christmas Eve, and we just usually have some fun and have lots of food and family over and that kind of thing. Hope you're celebrating with family and friends and all of that this Christmas Eve. On our show today, let's get right to that. We have the Republican Club. They're going to be coming on talking about the two candidates running for state senator here in California. They're going to be talking about them. They're going to have them both in as guests at the Republican Club, so we'll be talking about that and previewing those events here. And also the History Center will be coming in, talk a little bit about what the History Center does here in the village and how you can become more involved in that, so stay tuned for that. We want to keep you stay informed, and we've got a fun one today. We got lots and lots of movies for us for the Christmas Day and the 26th as well. Let's take a look at some of those. We got on the Christmas Day, we're going to start with A Christmas Carol. That's a great one. City Slickers, of course, that's a holiday movie, right? I think he's on vacation, so that almost counts as a holiday. And then we have La La Land, a great, fun musical for everybody to enjoy at 8 p.m. So that's going to be our day on Christmas for the 25th. And on the 26th, we've got some more great ones. 8:30 a.m. we've got Grease, and then The Goodbye Girl, fantastic Neil Simon comedy, romantic comedy, 10:30 a.m. I actually teach that one in my film history class as my rom-com for the semester. And then we have Big Fish, which is just a great kind of epic fantasy kind of tale story. Big Fish is a really great movie as well. It's hard to describe that one, but it's a fantastic movie. If you get a chance to see that one, make sure you go ahead and do that. Let's take a look outside at our weather. And we are in for, now that the rains are all gone, we're in for a nice kind of a weekend. Cool temperatures, of course, after the rains have gone through. We're going to have that cool, cold front that moves through. So we're not going to see a lot of high temperatures for a little while. So the low 60s to mid 60s and partly cloudy. We'll get to mostly sunny by Monday. And the temperatures tick up just a little bit, but we're not going to hit 70 for a little while. So enjoy the cool Christmas-like weather, at least Christmas for Southern California-like weather. Other people are dealing with snow. I'm fine with 60s and partly cloudy, trust me. Let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset for this day. We've got a great one. This is Lexi, sent in by Debbie Byrne, and our sunrise was 6:52. Our sunset, 4:47 tonight. And if you'd like to send us a picture, well, you can do that. Lexi, we always want Lexi on. Every time Debbie sends a picture of that, we're going to put Lexi on television for sure. You want to send it to us, send us to it by doing Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, great holiday stuff still to get in, sunrise and sunset, trips that you're taking, whatever picture, we'll use it for sunrise and sunset. Okay, when we come back, we're going to be talking to folks from the Republican Club. Stay with us.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. Remember me? I'm the king of whoopee. And you're watching Village Television. But everybody does.
Let's talk some politics for the holidays. Why not, right? Republican Club folks are going to be here. We have Ro Kendall and Pat McCone. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You guys always manage to get some really good folks coming in, and there's no exception for January. You have one of the primary U.S. Senate candidates for California's Senate seat, Dianne Feinstein's former seat, coming in, and you're going to be talking about, it's going to be Denise Gray. Denise Gray, Gary's coming.
Right. Gary Pandol.
Double-barreled.
And she's up on the screen there. We see her.
There we go.
Yep.
My goodness. Now she is very much kind of in line with Republicans' kind of platform, right? She's not off too far, to any one way or the other, right? I looked at a lot of her stuff, and she's kind of like real, kind of like border security, finances in control. That's kind of her campaign, right?
You know, we're calling her another America First candidate.
Right.
And Paul Vallely, a general who I've met, wonderful man, he put out a piece on her, and he's considering her a constitutional patriot. So she's America First, Michael, but she's also constitutionally sound. I mean, her basics are America First, the people, American people, our foundations, our Constitution.
Yeah, and she has a political science background too, right?
Yes, yes. Now her undergrad, I don't know where she went to school undergrad, but her postgrad, graduate, she went to USC. So she's very intelligent. I have seen her 3 times already and heard her speak. She's well informed, she's educated, articulate.
Now, Ro, how important is it for the candidates to kind of get in front of the folks here at the Village, and the way you guys are able to make that happen?
Well, that's my job.
So it's very important.
It's important that I do my job, yes. And I like to keep it, you know, what's going on, obviously. And people want to know, and we don't always get the best representations on the mainstream media. So this way we can bring them directly and let people see who they are, what they stand for, and meet them in person if they come to our meetings. And I think it's real important.
Yeah, because I mean, this is such a large state, and it's so hard to campaign, do the door-to-door kind of thing that you could do in maybe an extreme of Rhode Island or something like that, where you can actually probably get door-to-door and knock on everyone, right? So it takes a lot of advertising, and then you're just getting 30-second and 15-second snippets and things like that. So I think that's the real challenge of any of the candidates on either side of that, to really let people know who they are. So I think that's the neat part about being able to come in here and hear somebody talk for a half hour, 45 minutes, and be able to take questions and that kind of thing too.
That's important. The questions are really telling, and our people do want to know things, and they do speak up. So we're very happy to put them together.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things that you were talking about, getting around the state, Denise has been around the state almost 2 years. She's been running. And she claims that she's been in every county. So, and like, that's a huge
That's an accomplishment.
It is. It is. She's determined.
And I think it was like what Nixon said, he was going to campaign in every state way back when, he went to Alaska. He spent a lot of time in crazy places.
Did he accomplish that?
He did, but that was one of the things they said that maybe cost him, because he wasn't, it wasn't as focused as he needed to be. He was spreading himself so thin, but it was one of his promises he made, right? So it's like, that can be a huge challenge. And for a state like we said, California, Texas, and the larger states, to be able to manage to do that and still, you have, it costs money to do that travel and bring your team with you, hotels and all that kind of things. So you're spending, the spend must be grand in California.
One of her issues too, when I've heard her speak, is solutions to our water situation in California.
Right.
Getting
I read about that too.
Desalinization, and that's key. So we just hope we can get a candidate that can represent California, because as goes California, goes the nation. And we want to get our house in order here.
Right, and as we see with Colorado River, it's not this endless, bountiful stream that everybody hoped it would be for the hundreds of years ago when these pacts were made. And the realities are, we're not getting as much rain, right? And the farmers up in the Central Valley, and they're struggling with their water rights. And so I can see why desal would be one of those. It can't just be conservation. We also have to find new sources out there, right? That's one of the things she's pledging.
Yes.
Yeah, terrific. So let's talk a little bit about this election. There are three prominent Democrats running.
Yeah.
There are a number of folks on the Republican side running, and the election has to be the top two. In California, we have this crazy system where it's not just the top Democrat and top Republican face off. Yep. So are there concerns in the party, on the Republican side, for you guys, like we don't get a number 2 in that race because it's so diluted?
It's that's why we're going to work hard to get them made known. People now, with our nation the way it is, we conservative Republicans believe that the other side is more radical, and we hope that people will look for common sense solutions to all of our ails that are going on in our country, Michael. Right.
I get that part, but I guess the challenge would be is that how do you have that candidate rise to the top when we have that kind of system set up in a democratic state, obviously, and it's it usually fosters 2 Democrats on the ballot for a lot of these races,
That's
and that's the real big challenge. I know goes against what you would value. Anybody should be able to run, but how many talks have there been within the party? Do you think about like, hey, let's consolidate this. Let's let some folks drop out and have that one name, so there's an opportunity on there.
Well, perhaps in the presidential election, but in the primary, it looks like the Democrats have 3, we have 3 on our side. I wish we'd consolidate. I wish we could. Honestly,
makes sense. You're running against yourself, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not smart.
Yeah, and I know you guys, and so talk a little bit about when and where for our upcoming one that you guys are going to have with the candidate. It's going to be January 5th.
January 5th. The usual Clubhouse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And when do we start? You've got it up.
I got it up there. It's going to be at 11
o'clock.
Michael, it's going to be 11:30 a.m. and it's going to lunch at 12:15.
Yes, very good. I can read.
Yeah. So and what are the opportunities for folks to be able to come from the village, come in and really ask those questions? How long is maybe the Q&A going to be set aside for this one?
Well, she's going to be starting. We open our meeting at 11:30. 11 a.m. to 11:30 is social time. People come early. And we begin our meeting at 11:30, and after the prayer and a pledge of allegiance, we begin. So she'll have about 50 minutes, actually, to be speaking. She's our keynote.
Right.
To speak and to answer questions. So that'll be a good amount of time. And what we have this year, too, we always have a luncheon. So we've opened it up to speaker only. So people who don't want to have lunch or maybe don't want to stay the whole time and only pay $5. So our meetings, we're really fortunate, Michael. We have about 120 to 130 people attend our meetings during the middle of the day, which is really great. So with we have more members. We have almost 300 members, but they don't all come. Of course, a lot of them are just supporting our club. But that's a good amount of numbers. So we're just trying to get out the word, and we send emails, our website.
And there's no reservations required for the $5 audience seats. Yeah.
Right. Members are free, but $5 for a guest and that kind of thing. They want to come and see.
No, it's $5 for everyone.
Oh, $5 for everybody. Okay, my mistake. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's $5. But if you're having lunch, then it's $30.
There you go.
$30.
And do you ever, when you have these have you ever kind of gone, wow, do you make discoveries at these events that you don't already know about the candidates, or do you have those wow moments in the past?
I don't know that they're wild, but there are nuances that aren't necessarily obvious until you really dig down in and see what they're about. And they might not be exactly what you thought they were going to be, or they might be more. We just don't know until we have that experience, the kinetic experience of really being with them.
Yes.
And you guys I want to touch on this real quick. We'll come back in January to talk about this, but we also have another candidate coming in February. Tell us just a sneak peek on him.
Yeah. Well, Eric Early, he'll be our candidate for February, and Eric has ran for, I believe it was
Attorney General,
right? And then the 2022. So he's been around a while, and I know he also is America First. He's very impressive. I've heard him.
I looked at his platform too. He's kind of America First down the line. So it'll be interesting to see the nuances, the difference between the candidates.
It's so true. Yes, and people will make up their minds.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, Ro, I appreciate you guys coming in, and of course, Pat. Well, thank you very much. Always good to have you guys on the program.
Great to be with you again, Michael.
Happy New Year.
Oh, yes, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to all of our members and villagers.
Too.
Absolutely. We'll have you on in the new year. We'll talk more. It'll be great.
Right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
You're watching ThisDay. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to ThisDay. There is a lot of background here in the village, and to talk more about that is Catherine Bryans with the History Center. Catherine, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
In.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and I love your pin. That is so festive and just adorable.
That was my goal.
Perfect. Well, so not only is the history store the history of the village, but there's also so I want to ask about there's great histories here and stories here in Laguna Woods Village, and it might seem obvious, but what does the History Center do?
Well, we collect those bits of history. We try to have references from what we call locale, which are things that affect our community, as well as our community, which is the main focus, and we've been doing that since 1977, when it was then called the Historical Society. We do it digitally,
Okay.
which is a magical word to a lot of seniors anymore. But, and we also do it, we have physical archives. That could mean we have pictures, storage of documents and things of that sort. So those are the way we collect it and keep it. And we were on our own separate system. So we were not affected by the malware that hit here, which is good. So we do our own backup and take care of that. So we keep it for the future. And you never know. You'd be surprised what people come in and ask to see if they could find out. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. And so there was a malware thing that happened that affected the village?
Right.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it really, the village lost a lot of documents and things, not by their fault, but by this malware.
Wow.
So,
But the History Center, everything fortunately was kept
Right.
intact. And in your brochure, it says there's 1,600 years of local human history.
well, that's what our CEO, Dean, likes to talk about. I'm not real familiar with those 1,600 years. I can talk about the 15 I've been in the village, but that's the only thing.
Well, and then one of the other things, it's in your brochure, it says, the collections, a lot of these collections come from, people in the community, things like
Absolutely.
photos, scrapbooks, documents, and that you guys can scan it so you can still keep your memories,
Correct.
but to bring it in so that there are these memories in the History Center.
Or we can teach them to have them come in and do their own scanning.
Okay.
We have one of our volunteers who does nothing but scan
Wow.
old documents. So he's pretty adroit at getting people through that process. It's not as difficult as it seems.
Right. Oh, how neat, how fun. And so not only does the History Center store, the history of the village, but there's also history with the building itself.
Correct.
So
Correct.
tell me about that.
Well, let me go back a little bit. 1977 is when we started. And what happened was the Rossmore Corporation and Ross Cortese were winding down building in the community. And they wanted a place to be able to put some of the documents pertinent to this community. And the Historical Society was formed, which later became the History Center. And that's where this whole little pod started. And building that building, we built it in 1996. Oddly enough, if you look at the building, it looks like the library and History Center are one big building, but there's 8 inches separating.
Oh, really? Okay.
Actually, it is a freestanding building. It is not, we are not a GRF facility, the History Center, but the building was built by donors through the Historical Society, and then it was donated to the Golden Rain Foundation. We maintained a long-term lease, and so that's how we got established there. The first shovel of dirt on the building was done by a very nostalgic person around here, Huell Hauser, and then he returned when the building opened in 1996. It was important, as we're not a GRF facility, we receive no money from assessments. We are all donor driven. So it's important for people to remember that we just don't happen, we need help. So hopefully in this season of giving, we can find some of that.
Yeah.
But
Don't
Huell
forget
came
about the
back.
History Center.
Yeah, don't forget the History Center. And in 1999, we became a city. In 2005, the name changed from Leisure World to Laguna Woods Village. And we remodeled the building in 2016. And also that year, we renamed it the History Center. What we found is people were not as comfortable coming to visit a place that said, with the word society on the end of it, like it was, I don't know, a secret club or organization.
Okay.
So we had some focus groups in and figured out that we needed to change the name, so we did that.
So it more encompasses what it's truly about.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And to feel when you come in, which you can, and you can do your own research. We can show you how to do that if you want to find out something that happened in the community. We also did several years ago a lot of old, what was called Leisure World News, which was the original weekly that came out. And now it's called the Globe. But at that point, it was called Leisure World News, and it was all paper-driven. So we had piles and piles in our archive room. And we had 2 volunteers, and it took them over 2.5 years to scan all of those newspapers. So you can come in and research anything that was newsworthy in our, well, newsworthy enough to make the paper.
To make the paper, yeah.
So
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
it's interesting, and a lot of people would just walk in and say, my Aunt Lily used to live here somewhere, and we have all the old phone books.
Wow.
We didn't scan those.
Okay.
They're still in a phone book. But it's really fun, and people can reconnect. There's a lot of interesting stories.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And then something new recently happened. There was a rededication of the Friendship Walk plaque.
Yes, 3.5 years ago. What happened, residents around there noticed that the plaque was missing, and they found it in the shrubbery. And apparently it was on a wooden base, and apparently got hit by a lawnmower. It was found by residents in the shrubbery, and because we've been doing walk brochures, tree walks in the community, we've been publishing that for the last couple of years, and they're very popular. People called us to see what they should do about the plaque, that it was in the bushes. It was on a wooden base, so there was always that possibility. So the plaque was actually part of a dedication in 1966 when the walk was developed by then Rossmore Corporation. There weren't a lot of places in our community for people to meet. There weren't a lot of people. So you could go to Clubhouse 1, you could go to a laundry room, or this walk was built so people could get out and socialize. And it was just a lovely, lovely thing, because Mr. Cortese wanted to build communities, not necessarily just housing. But before the pandemic, the people had noticed this plaque was missing, and I called BMS staff up at the maintenance building, and they came and picked it up, and that was it for 3.5, 4 years, because then the pandemic hit and staff was cut back, and we had the plaque, but we didn't know, we knew we had the plaque somewhere. So thanks to Bob Mergette and his staff, and I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name, but anyway, to Bob, who is actually retiring soon, what we found out is they had no idea what they were looking for. They had never seen a picture of it, they didn't know. So within 2 days, his staff found that. And then the question is, should we take it upon ourselves as the History Center to replace it? And we had a meeting in our board, and one of our board members, Dorothy Pasella, and her husband works at the Clubhouse 4 Center, and he said, we can build, we love our volunteers in this village. Honestly, we can build this for you and secure the plaque, and it'll never happen again. And that's one of the things you see in the picture is the work done. That was the day that they were installing. Actually, they cheated. They told me they were going to start at 8, and I got there at 8, and they'd started at 7:30, so I missed the big part of getting it in. But that's okay.
To see it happen.
Exactly. So we went ahead, and thanks to those volunteers, for like $60 instead of $1,800.
Wow.
And then we have Dorothy and her husband, Carmen Pachella. Dorothy's one of our trustees.
Okay.
So he sort of got volunteered the way most husbands get volunteered. But he and a friend of his at Clubhouse 4, Ami Gilad, did that work at no cost other than the materials.
Aw,
And
that's so nice.
And it is, and I heard somebody called me and said, the word's out that the plaque's back, because the residents had noticed and started Facebooking about it. So due to this The plaque is dedicated to a gentleman named Roland Wilson, who took it upon himself to make sure this worked, that this Friendship Walk was going to be a good area. And that's why his name is embedded on the plaque. And we're just very proud to be part of the recovery and the reinstallation of this Friendship Walk plaque. It means a lot to the residents, it means a lot to people in the community, and it means a lot to an entity called the History Center.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that it is back in its rightful place and is predominantly there so that everybody can see it and enjoy it.
We had a slide of the map, and I don't know if they can put that map, but the parking lot you see is actually the parking lot behind our building. It's the overflow parking on Aragon, so you can see that it's right above on that cul-de-sac, but you actually go on Avenida Castilla to see it. And they can come get one of our Friendship Walk tree guides.
Okay.
It's going to be revised. But John Parker, another one of our trustees, is doing incredible work with redoing. He's done 2 other walks. So he's been looking at how to renew this when I'm trying to get him to get started, to get it so it shows.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here and
My
telling us about
pleasure.
this. I'm so glad it was found.
I am too, but that's part of being a part of this village.
Yes. Well, if you'd like to check out the History Center, they are open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and they're located adjacent to the Village Library. Stay with us. We'll have more of This Day right after this.
And welcome back. Let's take a look at our Saturday movie for a minute, and it's going to be a great one. It is A Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. It is just a classic movie that you're going to love. Make sure you get to watch that one. It's fantastic. Commercial free, of course, and that'll be fun to watch. Hey, we're not going to be here on Monday. We're giving you the day off from me. 1 bonus, and 2, it's Christmas Day. So we're gonna have lots of movies for you. So let's check out some of those movies we have on Christmas Day as well. We are going to have Christmas Carol at 8:30 a.m. That's gonna run right into the 9 o'clock This Day hour. So if you turn in a half hour late to see me, you're gonna be half hour late to that movie. At 10:30 a.m. we got City Slickers, and then 8 p.m. La La Land. And then on the 26th, we're also gonna have another great day of movies. 8:30 a.m. No This Day as well on that day. So 8:30 a.m. we're gonna have Grease. Then 10:30 a.m. The Goodbye Girl, fantastic movie, and 8 p.m. we're going to have Big Fish. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. Let's take one quick look at the weather before we head out, though. We want to take a look, and it's going to be pretty nice, cool temperatures. Now that the rain's all gone, we're pretty happy about that. We're going to have low 60s during the rest of the week and rest of the weekend, and then we're going to inch up a little bit warmer. We're never going to touch 70 this week, so it's going to be a nice day of the weather. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at This Day, we hope you make this one a great one.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought me some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. And the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so,